We use phones and video calls to stay close to friends thousands of miles away. But imagine trying to build a bond with someone who doesn't even possess a physical body. Enter Shankar, a young boy spending his summer vacation at his grandmother's house, and his new acquaintance, Apu, a literal ghost. At first, the connection seems doomed. Shankar waits for the spirit to return, his hopes completely dashed, and almost walks away. But acting on an inexplicable impulse, he calls out to the empty room. Apu finally reveals himself, and we learn he wasn't hiding to be spooky. He was terrified of scaring Shankar away after their initial encounter. The ghost was actually feeling incredibly vulnerable. This first encounter moves past the initial shock of the supernatural and lands on something more grounded, the simple, mutual relief of finding someone to talk to. Both characters are operating from a place of deep isolation. Shankar is stuck at his grandmother's rural home with only one companion, while Apu is a spirit trapped in a timeline he left behind half a century ago. The author specifically uses the word materialized to describe Apu's return. Choosing to become solid, to become visible to another person, requires him to drop his spectral defenses. It is a massive display of trust. Shankar matches that trust instantly. His immediate reaction isn't panic, it's absolute relief. He thought he had dreamt Apu up. That shared relief pivots their dynamic away from fear and directly toward mutual curiosity. That deep overlapping isolation serves as the crucial catalyst. When two beings are that profoundly alone, they are forced to reach across the void and bridge the gap between their disparate realities. This diagram illustrates how their friendship functions, an active exchange of worlds. Apu listens as Shankar describes tennis, having never seen a racket and ball used this way. Shankar continues to pull back the curtain on his 21st century reality. He tells Apu about televisions, cell phones, and magical modern computers. In return, Apu paints a picture of a bygone timeline. He shares his nostalgia for a rural village from decades ago, filled with quiet dirt roads and simple river swims. And his era was noticeably wilder. Apu recounts thrilling stories of local rivers filled with massive crocodiles and jungles thick with tigers. This constant trading of memories allows them to inhabit each other's eras, making the half-century gap between them feel far smaller. The author drives this exchange home using sharp sensory details. As Shankar teaches the ghost to play, we get intense auditory imagery, the thwack, thwack of the racket swinging with immense gusto. Then the lesson flips, and Apu takes Shankar to his domain, a steep riverbank where the boy stands teetering on the edge, looking down at the fast-flowing water. Notice the author's specific word choice here. Apu relinquishes the tennis racket. He willingly surrenders his turn with his favorite new toy so he can focus entirely on teaching Shankar how to dive. Shankar's willingness to dive and Apu's struggle with the racket show a mutual commitment to learning from one another, regardless of how awkward the first steps might be. Eventually, the warm, lazy days of summer begin to run out. As Shankar's vacation nears its end, the story's tone shifts from joyful discovery to quiet sorrow. Shankar is torn. He has an unavoidable duty to return home to his parents and his school, but doing so means leaving his supernatural friend entirely alone again. When Shankar breaks the news, Apu's reaction is heartbreaking. His face turns completely downcast, and his voice catches in a literal sob at the thought of returning to total isolation. The ultimate test of any profound connection is how the individuals navigate the pain of an unavoidable separation. To ease that pain, Shankar acts on a sudden inspiration. He decides to leave behind his prized possession, his precious graphite tennis racket. By leaving the graphite frame behind, Shankar gives Apu a way to keep participating in the modern world long after the summer ends. And the magic holds. A month later, Shankar receives a letter from his grandmother. She writes that she can still hear the rhythmic bouncing of the tennis ball echoing against the walls of the empty room. Usually, a mysterious sound in an old house signifies a terrifying haunting. Here, that bouncing ball is completely recontextualized. It is an echo of pure joy, a sign that Apu is busy practicing for his friend's return. The sound of that bouncing ball is proof of a lasting impact, a small act of generosity that ensures Apu's world remains full, even when the house is empty.